kind of defeats the purpose, right? Hello. This is Larry, the mortgage guy, your mortgage insider and certified veteran mortgage advisor. Now, before I get started, I want to check my sound to make sure it's working. So bear with me for a couple of seconds, maybe 10 at the most, to make sure that my sound is working. I sound okay on mortgage insider and certified veteran mortgage advisor. Okay, it sounds pretty good. I'm going to ask the Zoom callers, can you guys hear me? Maybe you can unmute or you can just comment or whatever, say that you can hear me. If you can, then I figured out a way to do both again, like I did in the past. Hopefully you can't hear me. I'm just going to go on, but if you can't hear me, just let me know. Okay. All right. So I'm going to share my screen here for the audience because I do have a presentation. Share screen here. Okay. We're good. All right, Mr. Oliver. All right. Hey, what's up, guys? It's Larry, the mortgage guy, your mortgage insider, certified veteran mortgage advisor, as you can see, right? And I'm really excited because I'm actually going to share quick tips on how veterans can save thousands of dollars on the VA loan. Now, I'm actually taking a snippet of one of my secret classes, meaning classes I taught to a private group of consumers. And I didn't want to share this publicly to anyone outside of that group, but I felt that it might be worth kind of taking parts of it and sharing it to the general public when it comes to the VA loan, because obviously I want to serve veterans as much as I can. So I don't want to be stingy with that kind of information. So if you are not a veteran, you're a loan officer or real estate agent, then I guess consider yourself lucky, because this is information I normally will only share with clients in a private setting, right? But I'm gonna go ahead and share my presentation here. Hopefully you see it, and I'm gonna click present. So that's what you see me do. I'm getting ready. Alrighty. So again, if you have any questions, please stop me anytime. This call is for you guys who are here trying to learn about the VA loan and the home buying process in general. So feel free to stop me anytime during this presentation. Okay. Home buyer secrets, home buyer secrets that most loan officers and real estate agents won't tell you. And again, this is kind of a general class I taught for veterans and first-time home buyers. So I'm kind of again remixing. I'm taking a part of it. I'm like taking a screenshot of my presentation to reveal it to you guys. Okay. Also, wait until the end of my class after the Q&A, and I'll tell you how you can save $500 off your closing costs when you buy your home. And this is immediately. Okay. All right. I'm gonna move on to this. I have this long mission that I was going to talk about, but I'm going to change it, right? So I'm going to give you my quick version of the mission from the top of my head. The reason why I do what I do is because when I first applied for a mortgage, I actually got denied. I applied with one of the larger banks. I'm not going to name them, right? But I applied with one of the large banks, and I never heard from them. I applied, they pulled my credit, never heard from them. I called, text, email, couldn't get a hold of them. I went to the branch, the bank that they were at. They were nowhere to be found. They always said, "Oh, well, they serve like multiple branches, so I can't find them." You might be almost figuring out who they are by the way I'm talking about them, right? But I just couldn't get a hold of them, and I was denied, right? That was the first experience. The reason I knew I was denied because I got a letter, right, saying that sorry, we're not able to help you. But they didn't give me an explanation as to why. I didn't know what was wrong. I didn't know what I did wrong. I know what I could have done differently. I literally was blind. They just said you don't qualify for whatever reason, and they didn't even talk to me whenever they pulled my credit. Okay, the second time I actually did get a hold of a loan officer. I was referred by a friend, and I talked to the loan officer, and they pulled my credit, and they told me that my debt to income ratio was too high because my spouse had a lot of student loans, right? And although I made good amount of income, the DTI was just too high, right? So they basically said that I needed to work on paying stuff down, whatever, right? They gave me a plan. So a little bit more information, right? Well, I actually joined the mortgage business, funny enough, with the same company with a person that actually talked to me, and he wasn't there when I joined, but I actually got a hold of my application. I didn't work it, but I asked people to look at it, and I learned because of me actually being inside that I actually did qualify just for a different program, but they didn't bother trying that program. So the problem that I had with that was I was actually qualified, But the first time I got denied, no one even told me why I was denied. And the second time I was denied, I was denied incorrectly, because if they had just looked at my file from a different perspective, from a different loan product, I would have qualified. And it was really bad because I lost my house, because I was actually, renting to own at the time, and I couldn't qualify to buy it. So we had to leave the house. It was a huge mess, right? So that mistake, that lack of knowledge or education, really hurt my life. It hurt my family situation, right? So I don't want that to happen ever again to anybody, right? So the fact that I felt that I was mistreated when I first applied for, I mean, I have a house now, but of course because I did the loan, or my wife and I did the loan, right? So we qualify. We qualify now, but back then, for whatever reason, we just had really crappy loan officers, right? And I felt that there was a huge problem with that, because I think I'm probably not the only person getting denied incorrectly or wrongfully. I'm probably not the only person who's not getting the information I need to proceed to become a qualified home buyer. So my mission is to prevent that from happening however I can. And I think it's through education. Okay. So that's basically the reason why I do what I do. Okay. Why I love being in the mortgage business, because I think there's a huge um, need for a change in the way loan officers work with clients. And I also work in the mortgage business and do what I do now in terms of teaching classes, because I think education will help get a lot of people past working with those crappy loan officers, right? So that's basically the bottom line of why I do what I do, right? The home buying process is very confusing to most people, but that is why I'm here, to simplify the process and make sure you're 100% prepared in the home buying process and to become ahead of the competition in this insane market. And for example, I provide fully underwritten pre-approvals, meaning we actually have an underwriter look at your file and they get you conditionally approved to the fullest extent, with the exception of not having a property yet. That way, when you buy a house or you make an offer, you're already underwritten, you're already done, right? So now it's just a matter of the house appraising and you're basically good to go. So it's almost as good as cash, right? And also, I offer $500 towards closing costs, because I know saving money, saving every penny you can is important. Okay. So that's my quick mission, whatever. So I'm going to skip all this, because this is actually going to be about VA loans, right? So I'm going to talk about quick tips about being a VA home buyer. And again, I want you to understand that I'm actually just remixing a class, and if you're, what do you call it, quick enough to go through those slides and learn, uh, you know, the secrets that I try to hide, then congratulations to you, right? So first thing I want to talk about is who's eligible, right? Even though that's not part of the tips, I do want you to understand, if you qualify, then you should know about it, right? So if you serve during World War II peacetime, after that, or the Korean War, post-Korean War, Vietnam War, post-Vietnam War, and Persian Gulf during these dates, right, then you would be eligible. Now for others, if you're an active duty member, 90 continuous days or 181 days during peacetime. If you're active reserve or National Guard, then 6 years in selected reserves with 16 points. This one's an exception. If you're an unmarried surviving spouse, what that means is if you were married to someone serving and they died because of active duty, or they died from a service connected disability, then you would qualify unless you remarry before the age of 57. I don't know why the number is 57. The Veteran Lending Council, the people who trained us, they don't have an explanation either. It's just some weird number, right? But if you're an unmarried surviving spouse and you're not remarried, right? Not so that's why they say unmarried, then you qualify unless you get married again. Now, if you get married after you're 57, then you can still qualify. I know it's weird, but basically the rule of thumb is if you were married to a active duty member or a veteran who passed away because of active duty or service connected disability, and you're unmarried, you will qualify unless you remarry before the age of 57. Okay. So that means if you remarry after 57, you still qualify. Okay. And of course, POW or MIA spouse, meaning veterans must be POW or MIA for more than 90 days. Okay. All right. Certificate of eligibility. This is a document from the VA that confirms that your eligibility for VA home loan obtainable through e-benefits or directly from the lender, like myself. And we pull it really fast. So if you're having trouble getting it, just let us know. But to get the COE, if you're active duty, you need a statement of service and current orders. If you're active duty veteran, you're DD 214. If you're National Guard, NGB 22 and NGB 23. And if you're in reserve, statement of service and point statement. Okay. Certificate of eligibility, it's the golden ticket, meaning it's what helps us lenders figure out what you can buy. And of course, it provides all the information in terms of eligibility and what you may be exempt from. Right? There's two distinct factors to consider, though. Being eligible means you earn the benefit. Qualification means you actually qualify for the amount. So there are two different things, right? Just because you're eligible doesn't mean you qualify, and just because you qualify, you might not be eligible. Okay. Entitlement misconceptions: you can only have one VA loan at a time. That's simply not true. If you foreclose on a VA loan, you can never have another one. That's again not true. And the VA has a max loan amount. Again, that's not true. Okay. And I'm going to explain it to the side in this slide. Can I have more than one VA loan at a time? Yes. We will calculate the remaining entitlement, meaning what you have left. So you have a certain amount of credit. If you use all of it, of course, you don't have anything left. But if you use half of it, then you have the other half to use, right? Can the loan amount be higher than the maximum loan amount determined? Yes, because a down payment will be required. Meaning, let's say you have 400,000 in entitlement, you use 200,000 on the first house, and you didn't sell it, and you have 200,000 on the second house, and you want to buy a $300,000 house, right? So now you have 200,000 that you're covered by the VA, but then the remainder 100,000 you have to put a down payment, which is normally 25% down because the VA covers 25% of the entire property. So if you're above by 100,000, you're going to put down 25,000 for a $300,000 loan. Okay, that's how it kind of works. Okay, can I apply for a VA loan after a foreclosure? Yes, it's the same thing, meaning your part of your entitlement was used. Of course, that entitlement will never be restored unless you pay off that house, obviously, but most people wouldn't do that. But if you were to foreclose on a home, if you still have entitlement remaining, you can use that entitlement after a 2-year wait period. Okay. Of course, there's extenuating circumstances where you can wait only one and it'll still work. Also, something that is not really addressed here, but I think I might have put it on someplace else. There's no max loan limit if you have a full entitlement or all your benefits are not used or it's fully restored. Meaning, if your COE shows that you have a fully restored entitlement or you've never used it, there's no max loan limit. You can buy as much as you want. There's as long as you qualify. So if you in a county with a loan limit of like maybe I don't know 60,000, I'm sorry 600,000, and you want to buy $1 million home, you can buy $1 million home as long as you qualify. Okay, so that's actually a pretty good information that a lot of people don't think about. Okay, close that up. All right, next one. Restoration of entitlement. VA loan can be used more than once. Full restoration of entitlement requires payoff of existing VA loan and transfer of title. Veteran must obtain a new COE, which is what I just explained to you guys. Okay. Now here are the quick tips. And even though this quick, I want to kind of dive deep on each individual tip that I'm giving you. Okay. There's no credit score requirement from the VA. What that literally means is the VA has no credit minimum. They don't talk about credit scores on their guidelines. Okay. They lean on the lender to decide what the lender feels is worth or what is not too much risk, right? So overlays is what they call it, right? So lenders are the ones who create the credit score overlays on the VA loan, not the VA themselves. So you might have lenders that are willing to go down to 620. You have lenders who might go down to 580. Like myself, I've actually helped veterans at a 500 credit score before, not with this company, but with past companies, right? So it is possible to get a VA loan even with a 503 credit score, whatever. Okay. So that's really important. And the reason why they did that, so you guys understand, is because obviously the VA, in their great wisdom, when they're trying to figure out how they're going to help veterans get into homes, they were thinking that a lot of these veterans didn't have time to build a credit score. They didn't have time to borrow, a car note or whatever in order to build their credit. They don't have credit cards. So they're coming back with no history because they've been fighting a war. So why would score be a thing if most people don't have it, right? So that's why that never became a thing, right? And it's stuck. Okay. Like I said, there's no max loan limit if you have your full entitlement. I talked about that earlier because it was one of the questions that was asked. But literally, there's no max loan limit if you have it in your full entitlement on your COE. So again, you can buy $1 million house. I think we can do up to $2 million. I think that's what my company told me when I asked them. We can do $2 million VA loan with zero down if you qualify. Okay, so there's no max loan limit as long as you have your full entitlement. And it's not just your first time using it. If you restore it, so let's say you buy a house and then you sell it, and so basically the VA loan is paid off. Basically, you have your full entitlement again, and you can go ahead and do your max loan limit purchase. You can buy whatever you want. Okay, you are allowed to borrow money to help with closing costs. A lot of people don't know this. A lot of people don't realize that the VA is one of those loan products where if you need to borrow money for closing costs, you are allowed to. You are allowed to take out a loan to pay off closing costs. No other loan product does this. That's why it's so weird when you hear about it, when you talk about it. Can I borrow money to buy a house? No, you cannot. It's not possible, right? It's not allowed. Well, with the VA loan, it doesn't matter. If you can qualify with that new debt and the terms make sense, meaning they're legit terms with whoever it is that's lending you money, and you can pay it based on your debt to income ratio, then you're allowed to borrow it and make it a part of your funds for closing. Okay. Something that a lot of people don't know. Something that when I heard it, it kind of blew my mind. And I heard it directly from someone who worked for the VA. They were an underwriter for the VA. So I know it's legit. Okay. I'm not making stuff up. Okay. And they confirmed it later on. Right. Um, you cannot use the VA loan to buy investment properties. Okay. The VA is designed for veterans to have a house for themselves and their family to live in. That's the only reason why the VA loan exists. They're not trying to help veterans make money. Not saying that they're against it. It's just that's not the whole purpose. The whole purpose is to protect their family and themselves once they come back to America or come back home from being under service. So using America is wrong because some people are National Guard, so they're always in America. But the whole point is that they have a house that they need to live in America. Okay, so that's what the whole point is. So therefore, you cannot buy as an investment. However, there's nothing stopping you from renting your old home. What I mean by that is, let's say you bought a house as a veteran. That's your house. That's where you live, and that's where your family lives in. And you've been there for a year, and then you decide to go buy another house. There's nothing stopping you from renting the house after you've occupied it for 12 months. Okay, so if you moved in there as a veteran with a VA loan, they know that you're living there as an occupant. That's where your life is going to be. That's where your home is going to be. If you leave 12 months later, they're not going to hold it against you if you decide to rent it out. Okay. Of course, when you buy your next home, unless you're buying with a VA loan, you will still have your entitlement tied up to that property unless you refinance it to a conventional, which is what I suggest. But let's say you do not, then you have less entitlement, and of course there may be questions about this property and what you're doing with it, because obviously it's bought with a VA loan and you're not selling it. So what's going on with that, right? So you have to be able to explain that. Okay, but it's not like they're against it. Okay, done right, you can buy a primary with a VA loan, eventually rent it out after 12 months, and buy another primary with a VA loan. Okay, meaning you can invest zero down on investment properties and rinse and repeat. Of course, you still have the 12-month occupancy restriction, but if you're kind of buying houses just to become an investor, this will be the cheapest way to do it. Meaning, I'm talking about money out of pocket. Okay. All right. Crazy exception story time. So I gave you sort of some guidelines, expectations, what you can and cannot do with a VA loan. I'm gonna tell you stories where I kind of broke the rules legitimately, meaning legally. Okay. I successfully helped a veteran client buy a home using a VA loan months after using the VA loan in the same area. So what I mean by that is there was a client, and this is the story. I'm going to tell you the whole story because again, I want to dive deep on everything I'm talking about. This client was in desperate need of a house, and they just picked whatever house they can get into. Right? It wasn't their dream house. It's just the house that they chose that they can afford with the VA loan. When they're in the process, they were afraid of using up their VA loan because they knew there's a chance they might find the house that they want. So they want to be able to use the VA loan again. So they want to tie up their benefits, right? So they asked the loan officer, can they change it to a conventional? To which he said, no, it was too late, which is not true, right? You can always change it. Of course, timeline, maybe, but depending on the lender you work with, they can turn it around really fast. Okay. But this guy was not having it. He was not going to help them. Right. So they were stuck buying this house that they weren't super happy with the VA loan. Well, once they moved in there, about 2 months later, they found their dream home, like literally the home that they wanted, in the neighborhood that they wanted, in the price range that they wanted, and they wanted to buy that house. Of course, they wanted to use the VA loan because funds are not plentiful, especially after moving into a house 2 months earlier. And they asked their loan officer, the same one, can we? And he said, absolutely not. That would actually be considered mortgage fraud. You cannot have two VA loans at the same time in the same area. That's literally what he said, right? So they accepted it. They kind of decided that they can't get this house, but then uh, one of these calls was zoomed or streamed to LinkedIn, and that person saw my class talking about using multiple VA loans in one time. So she reached out to me and asked me about the scenario. I'm like, well, I we can always try. You never know, right? I think it's okay that it makes sense that they want to move. It doesn't seem like they're trying to create fraud. It doesn't seem like they're trying to buy the first house or the second house to rent out. In fact, we wouldn't let them rent it out because that would definitely be what do you call it? It'll raise red flags, right? But if they can qualify for both houses at the same time, I don't see why not, right? But of course, I'm kind of stupid. I'm kind of dumb, right? What I mean by that is, I always have that, well, we don't know until we try. But most loan officers would tell you that that's wrong, right? There's no way you can do that. Most loan officers are like, nope, yeah, that other loan officer is right. You can't do it, right? But I'm stupid. I'm dumb, like I said, right? So I took the application and I looked at the information. I talked to my team, and we went for it. We're like, you know what? This sounds like a legitimate reason why they want to buy a second house. It's not because they're trying to make money off of it. It's not like they're abusing it. It's just they made a rash decision, and they found their forever home, right? In worst case scenario, we'll refinance the home that they just bought into a conventional, so that they can free their benefits. Now, of course, the other loan officer wouldn't want to do that, because if they did that, then they would probably be too short, because you want to wait 6 months. And whenever loan officer says you can't refinance until 6 months later, they're not telling you that because there's a rule or guideline. I think technically you can refinance the next day if you want to. I think it's because they're worried that their commission is going to be called back, right? It's called an EPO, early payoff, right? EPO means the lender didn't make enough money off interest. They need at least 6 months. So the fact that your loan changed less than 6 months, they didn't make the money, so they actually uh, charge back or refund the commission that you made, right? So that's probably the reason why the loan officer didn't want to do the refinance, because of course they probably offer this, like, hey, I want to buy this with a VA loan. Can I refinance the house that you just helped me with a VA loan into conventional and use a VA loan? He probably said no, you can't do that. But he was probably just saying no because he didn't want to lose his commissions. Okay, which is kind of silly because he would have made twice the commission if he went ahead and did it, right. But yeah, so I told the client, worst case scenario, that's what we'll have to do. And she's like, whatever it takes. I'm just happy that you want to help. And we went for the VA route, and we explained it to the VA, and they accepted it. They felt that what we explained to them was legitimate. They felt that uh, it makes sense that this person bought a house in a crazy market just to get into a house because they're afraid of being in danger of being homeless. And then after a few moments, they found the house that they really wanted, the dream house, dream neighborhood, whatever. And that's why they want to use the VA loan. And they could afford it. They had enough entitlement. Both spouses were veterans. Okay. But, anyways, they could afford it. It's just the fact that, can you have two VA loans in the same area? Well, in this case, I've proved that you can. Okay. So that's my little story about how I got a client, two VA loans within 2 months in the same area. And when I made a post about it, people told me that I was lying. They tried to come up with some explanations to why this happened. They said you had to have done this, or it had to have been this. Nope, it's exactly how I'm telling you. They just wanted two houses using the VA loan. They could afford it, and they had enough entitlement. That's that, right? And a letter written to the VA made it so. And I have the loan. I can prove it to you that it happened. Okay. So I successfully helped the veteran client buy home using a VA loan months after using the VA loan in the same area, which, again, 99% of loan officers will tell you that's impossible, but I made it happen. Okay. Second crazy exception story time. I constantly save veterans $4,000 to $8,500 on closing costs, even if they do not do the loan with me through my coaching/guidance. I'll give you a quick example. I had a veteran client who was already under contract, but they were not locked yet with the rate. And I was competing. I was like, hey, I want your business, so maybe I can compete for your business. I'm like, what rate are they telling you they got for you? And he gave me their quote that's not locked, and I actually was able to beat them, right? So I was like, hey, if you go with me right now, I can give you this rate. And I screenshot what I was looking at. And he's like, oh man, should I just go with you? Or, I mean, should I, negotiate with my lender? I'm like, and of course, the evil me, the bad guy on my shoulder, was telling me to tell him he should just go with me and forget the other guy. But the angel side of me, the angel shoulder, was like, no, let's do what's best for the veteran, right? And tell the veteran to tell his current lender that he's under contract with, that he's already in the process with, what rate you can get for him, and have him negotiate with that lender. That way, that lender either fights for it or says, I can't do anything, right? If he says he can't do anything, then of course you win. But if he fights for it, hey, at least you're helping the veteran. And the guy was able to somehow magically lower his quote. He even said, I'm losing money on this or whatever. He said, I can't believe that other lenders showed you screenshots or whatever. Whatever he said, he basically gave up, right, and locked it at the lower rate, even though he quoted a different rate earlier, right? And because he locked it with that rate, the veteran decided to stay with that person because they've already done all the paper with them. They've already applied with them. They didn't want to have the credit pulled again, even though I told him that it would be okay. But still, I didn't want to bully him or force him. The appraisal was through them. So basically, because the process already started with that guy, and I got him the rate that I would have given him, he stuck with that person. So I lost the deal by coaching him on how to negotiate. Do I feel bad about it? Well, yeah. I mean, of course, I want to feed my children. I mean, I always say one loan is like a whole month's worth of groceries, sometimes 2 months, right? So, of course, I feel bad about that. But at the same time, the ethical side of me, or the honest side, or what do you want to call it, like the bigger person side of me, told me that I need to help the veteran save as much money as possible, no matter where he goes, right? So um, that's why I did what I did. So, and of course, it's always paid me back whenever I'm, I guess, generous, whatever you want to call it, when I give without actually expecting, right? So I don't mind doing that, especially when it comes to veterans, and it has already paid itself back, right? I've already gotten a bunch of referrals because of it, right? And not expected. I didn't expect that. I was expecting to win the deal, is what I was expecting, but I lost the deal, and that's okay. I try to lose gracefully, right? And I just say congratulations, you just saved yourself thousands of dollars in interest, and in return, I got a bunch of referrals. So again, I constantly say veterans $400 to $800, even though I'm not the one doing the loan. Okay. So last crazy exception story time, and that might be it. I don't know. I helped an unmarried couple buy using a VA loan when other lenders have said it is impossible. And I'll explain that in a few sides. Okay. But basically, whenever I took applications, embarrassingly, I made this mistake before. Okay. I would actually deny couples who are not married. I'll be like, no, I'm sorry, Mr. and Mrs. whatever. You have to be a married couple in order to buy a VA loan as a team, as a couple, right? In order to use the non-veteran income, I need you guys to be married. And they're like, well, we're not married and we don't plan to get married anytime soon. And therefore, I would deny them incorrectly, right? Um, I remember one time where a person had a girlfriend and he was still married to his uh, I guess ex-wife, but he was calling it ex-wife, but they were still married. And I was like, that's you got to get divorced before you do anything like that. Now there's a chance that I might be able to figure something out. I don't know, but I'm just saying I've actually just denied people automatically based on what I thought was correct, when in reality you actually do this as an unmarried couple. Okay, even though the VA wants you to be married, there is not possible not to do so. Okay, and I'm going to go ahead and move into the slides that talks about that. But before I do that, more of the story: certified veteran mortgage advisors are trained and held accountable for knowing the VA loan inside out. Okay. And make sure you work with a VA lender who originates their loans using the best method to structure closing costs. Okay. Because a lot of veterans, they get tied up in their structure and their loan, and they can't do certain things, which creates problems for everyone because they're getting charged a percentage of origination fees instead of the actual cost of it, right? So they're getting overcharged. So, for example, my origination fees is about $1,400 total processing and underwriting. Depending on the loan size, that's actually really cheap, right? Um, but if you are getting charged 1% by these big box lenders, especially these veteran friendly ones, they're charging 1%. Well, $1 million loan, that's $10,000. I'm charging 1,400 if even if you have $1 million loan. So where is the extra $8,500 going to, right? And when you get charged a percentage, you can't pay for anything like a pest inspection, so someone else has to pay for it, and that creates issues with the sellers and everyone else because for some reason sellers don't want to pay $150 for a pest inspection. It's just a pain point of theirs, right? So uh, I think you should focus on working with lenders who don't charge an origination fee because the math just doesn't make sense. Now, of course, if you're buying a $50,000 home, which I don't know if that's even possible, then your origination fee for 1% is $500. So that's definitely cheaper than mine. But let's be real here. Most people are buying 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, $1 million homes. So $900,000, $1 million homes, right? So that's $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 origination fee versus my 1,400. It's actually under 1,400, but you get what I'm saying. All right. So lenders who know everything do not know there are possible exceptions, and I've proven to you with those few stories that I have found the exceptions, like the ability to have two VA loans in one area in less than 2 months or 2 months. I don't know how long. It was definitely less than 6 months, right? So that would be considered impossible, but I achieved it. Uh, I actually would tell people, hey, I can help unmarried people buy a house, and people would tell me that I'm wrong or I'm lying. No, again, people who know everything do not know that there's possible exceptions especially when it comes to the VA loan. Okay. Most lenders do not understand the VA handbook and guidelines only speak on what can't be done. They do not address what can be done. So what I mean by that is they tell you what is not allowed, but they don't really explain what can be done. So what that means is the VA is willing to consider any loan as long as it makes sense and is well documented and explained. That means if the lender, us, think it's a good idea, they actually might agree with us. That's the point we're making, right? So they explain what can't be done, but they don't really tell you what can be done. So I actually might create the can, like in that example of me getting a borrower 2 VA loans within 2 months in the same area. That was a can. They didn't say you can't do it, right? There's certain things that says you can't do something like that, but I explained to them why they should be able to, and it makes sense to them, and they went for it. Okay. So again, in the words of Bill White, I would suggest that best trading guide already exists, the lender's handbook. Chapter 4 is the primary tool for underwriting VA loans because it encourages flexibility in delivering the VA benefit. It gives wide latitude to lenders. The expectation is that lenders, especially lenders with automatic authority, will use their own judgment when necessary. As long as lenders document their reasoning, it is extremely unlikely VA staff would ever take issue with their decision. We deliberately promulgated wide-ranging credit guidelines rather than attempting to deal with minute scenarios. This way, lenders can use their judgment and expertise when processing VA loans. Again, this Bill White is the godfather. He's the one who founded or helped start the VA loan. Okay. He's basically saying, hook them up. If it makes sense, hook them up. Okay. So as long as you explain it and document it well. Actually, yeah, I do want to talk about this. So one of the things that drives me to help veterans is because the lack of awareness and education. And these statistics kind of help with that, right? Only 24% of qualified veteran homeowners are currently using their VA home loan. Again, only 24% of qualified veteran homeowners are currently using their VA home loan. That means there's 76% of veterans out there who are not owning, they're renting, but they qualify. 76%. Right. So out of 100 veterans, 76 of them are renting when they should be owning. Okay. Less than 5 years ago, it was only 12%. Right. But we believe that the reason why it's increasing is because of the awareness amongst internet savvy veterans and education like this one. Okay. 33% of veterans that have a mortgage indicated they did not know about the VA loan program. Again, 33 out of 100 veterans did not know about the VA loan. How is that possible? I mean, that's 1/3. That's a big number. Okay. 1/3 of all veterans did not know about the VA loan program. Okay. And 46% of veterans reported their lenders had not brought up the VA loan option. So this one blows my mind. Out of 100 loan officers, 46 of them didn't even bring up the VA loan when looking at a veteran or talking to a veteran. That is ridiculous. That makes no sense whatsoever. Okay. And my theory is number one, they don't know what the heck they don't know about it, which would be really sad. Or number two, they're too afraid to talk about it because they're afraid of screwing up the VA loan because they don't have enough education. Okay. Either way, it's bad, right? Because the veteran should know. If they're buying a house, they should know about the VA loan. 100%. Okay. So I was talking about this loan whenever I told the story about how I got an unmarried couple the ability to buy a house even though they're not married is what's called using a joint loan. And this blew my mind because I never even knew this loan existed until I became certified. Okay. And again, when I talk about with other lenders, they're like, no, there's no such thing. Well, yeah, there is. It's in the guidelines. You just didn't read it. Okay. A loan other than veteran and spouse. Example, a veteran and a fiance or a veteran and a relative. It requires prior authorization from the regional loan center. That means we have to write the VA and ask them, is it okay for this person and this person to buy in a joint loan environment? A down payment is required, 25% of the non-veteran size. So let's say it's a $400,000 loan. The VA is going to cover one half for the veteran, meaning they don't have to put anything down. But they're not going to cover the non-veteran, the civilian, right? Obvious reasons. And the VA requires that the house is 25% guaranteed. That means 25% down, right? So $100,000 house is $25,000. A $400,000 house is going to be $100,000, right? So in this case, a $400,000 house, half of it is covered because it's 100,000 is 25%, right? Half of it is covered by the veteran because of the VA loan, and the other half needs to be covered by the non-veteran civilian. So what's half of 100,000? 50,000. So in that case, it would be a $50,000 down payment on a $400,000 house. Okay. 12.5% is the number because it's 25% as a guarantee, right? I mean, that kind of makes sense. $400,000 house, 25% needs to be guaranteed because it's a VA loan. So half of it's covered, 12.5 by the VA. 12.5 is going to be have to be taken care of by the non-veteran borrower. 12.5%. It's roughly a little bit higher than that to make it perfect, but that's the quick math. That's the fractions, right? So that's what the down payment is required. Okay. A veteran and fiance who are intending to get married before or prior to closing will not be treated as a joint loan. It'll be treated as a regular loan, right? Because at the end of the day, all we care about is what are you at when you're signing. If you're married before you sign, you're a regular VA family. If you're not, then obviously that's when a joint loan is involved. Okay. And the income strength of the non-veteran cannot compensate for the income weakness of the veteran. What that means is you can't have a veteran that makes nothing marry a sugar daddy or a sugar mama, right? And expect to get a joint loan. That's not how it works. The veteran has to be able to carry their side of the loan, right? Which is half or whatever, right? So the veteran can be the sugar daddy or sugar mama, but it can't be the other way around. Basically, is what I'm saying. Okay, uh, they can be equal, or the veteran could be higher in terms of income strength versus their non-veteran buyer, but it can't be the opposite. Is basically what I'm saying. Okay, looks like I got a question. The question is from Grace. Grace asks, can veterans refinance from FHA or conventional to VA loan? The answer is yes, but it depends on what it is. And I don't want to get too deep into that because it's a whole nother conversation. But the answer is yes, you can, depending on the situation. Okay, and I think it might actually depend. It depends on a lot of different things. But yes, the possibility is there. But sometimes you might have to think about, does it make sense to do that, right? But yes, it's possible. Okay. And I actually might teach a class on that. That's actually a really good question. Let's see here. Any other questions? No. Okay, cool. All right. So I'm actually done with the presentation because this is the other stuff that I don't want to talk about. Now, for you guys who still want to stay for the next, I guess, 5 minutes and also know how to save $500 on closing costs, I'm going to kind of sell to you why you should work with a certified veteran mortgage advisor. Okay, because I think that's important. I'm hoping that I'm proving to you that I might be a little bit more knowledgeable than your average lender when it comes to VA loans. Okay, but I'm going to sell you even more now. Okay, I invested time, money, and energy to become certified. I'm very proud and take it very seriously. It is my designation, my name, and official title. Okay, so basically, I go by Larry Lee, comma VMA, Veteran Mortgage Advisor. Okay, I teach VA loan classes on a weekly basis because I am that passionate about helping veterans and our real estate community become more aware of how important it is for us to be educated and utilize the VA loan. Again, 46% of loan officers did not talk about the VA loan when they talk to a veteran. That's stupid. Okay. I don't like that at all. My goal is to change that. My goal is to lower that number to like 5% or even lower. Okay. I even teach other loan officers who is my competition because if they help a single veteran using my knowledge I gave them, I did my job. Right. That's the way I look at it. If I help other loan officers and real estate agents serve veterans better, even if I'm not involved, I still consider that a win. I still consider that do my job. I still consider that something that I can be proud of. I can sleep well at night. Okay, that's how passionate I am about the VA loan and why I became a certified veteran mortgage advisor. Okay, out of all VA appraisals that did not meet value, meaning they didn't it didn't appraise high enough, only 1% were submitted for an ROV, a reconsideration of value. If you don't know what that is, look it up, Google it. Reconsideration of value. Apparently, a lot of loan officers don't know about it. Okay, the reason why I say that is because out of 100 appraisals that didn't appraise, only one was submitted. So only 1% of all appraisals that didn't make value in a VA loan environment, only 1% of them were sent for a reconsideration of value. And that 1%, 50% of them, 50% of them actually succeeded in gaining value. Okay. That's crazy statistics. If you had a 50-50 chance to get more money on an appraisal, why are you not employing this awesome feature of the VA loan? Well, apparently 99% of loan officers don't know about it or they don't care to do it, right? I'll be the one that does. Okay. More than half of lenders don't even ask for a COE or certificate of eligibility when speaking to a veteran buyer. I make it the first thing we do. What I mean by that is if 46% of loan officers are not even talking about the VA loan, then you know damn well more than half of them are not even asking about the VA loan. Okay, more than half of veterans are not talking about the VA loan. I'm sorry, more than half are not asking about the certificate of eligibility. Okay, that's one of the first things I ask. Are you a veteran? Do you have a certificate of eligibility? It's one of the first questions I ask. Okay, so it's a big deal, right? A lot of people miss that when they are helping veterans. Almost half of lenders don't even mention the VA loan to veterans. Like I said, I ask all applicants if they are veterans so that I can mention the VA loan. What I mean by that is I actually ask every single person, "Are you a veteran?" In hoping that they say yes, so I can talk about the VA loan. I want to talk about it because I think it's an amazing loan product. I think it's amazing, especially if you don't know about it, that you can buy a house with no money down. I feel like I would be your BFF if you didn't know about the VA loan and you're a veteran. Okay, so I ask every client, even if it's awkward, even if I'm talking to a person and I have a really strong feeling, even though I can't judge, I have a strong feeling they're not a veteran. I still ask just in case. Okay, so yeah, I make it I make it my process to ask every single applicant, no matter what. I do not charge a full 1% fee on the VA loan. I use a collective method, which charges a flat fee for all VA loans. This allows for the veteran to pay for other fees if necessary, like the pest inspection, so that the seller and or other parties do not have to worry about it. Because for some reason, a lot of people don't like the VA loan because they're forced to pay for a pest inspection, which is $150. I don't know why. It's like a principle thing, right? But the way I structure my loans, you don't have to worry about that. You can pay for that and my fee and still be paying a lot less than a 1% flat fee by these other big box lenders that charge that kind of origination fee. Okay. Again, this also prevents the vendor from overpaying. Again, my example, I charge like 900 something bucks for processing and like 400 something bucks for underwriting. So at most $1,400, right? So I don't have the number memorized, like 995 or something like that, right? But anyways, it's under 1,400 bucks for processing and underwriting. On $1 million loan, 1% would be 10,000. I don't charge 1%. So whoever's charging 1% on $1 million loan, they're profiting over $8,500. Like I said, where's that money going? And they don't let you pay for the pest inspection, by the way. I insist on writing a letter accompanying the VA loan offer to explain my credentials, how well qualified the veteran is based on their pre-approval, and also insist on calling the listing agent to introduce myself and show why they should accept our VA loan offer. and I do this for actually every loan, not just the VA loan, because I'm not confident, right? I want to speak to the listing agent to explain to them why they should accept our offer. I want to vouch for the client. I want to explain to them mathematically, not it's not a love letter. It's not me tugging at their heartstrings. It's me telling them mathematically why you should accept their offer, right? So I'll literally fight for the veteran to get into the home that they want to be in. Okay? Now I'll do this for every loan that I do. Doesn't matter. I know how to structure offers with real estate agents that can help lower closing costs, lower interest rates, and even result on veterans or home buyers bringing absolutely nothing to the closing table. In fact, I've done that a couple of times already in this crazy market. Okay. So little tricks there. Okay. If possible, I will have my team do a fully underwritten TBD to be determined pre-approval where we underwrite the application to the fullest extent without having a property. So we conditionally approve the veteran before they even make an offer and go under contract, with the conditions being the property, appraisal, and final approval from the VA. This allows for faster closing times and a lot more confidence and peace of mind for all parties involved. What I mean by that is you're literally a cash buyer at that point because you've already been stamped, approved by the underwriter saying that this person is fully qualified, fully conditionally approved to buy this house. We just need to see if the house approves. We just need to see if the house appraises. But this bar is done. We don't have to look at the bar anymore. They're already done. We might need a pay stub. We might need a bank statement. But as long as they don't get fired or not get the opposite of a raise, I don't even know what you call a raise, a lower, like less income, whatever that is, right? Declining income. If you don't get that and your bank statements still look the same, you're good. Okay. We call this the power play. Okay. Like how veterans were trained to be prepared to serve and protect our country, we will provide the same effort to them and protect their loan. Okay. That's what the TBD is. Okay. The Certified Veteran Mortgage Advisor Community, managed by the Veteran Lending Council, is a national network and brain trust of like minded individuals with one mission: to serve the veteran community at the highest level. That's our mission: to take care of veterans the best possible way they can. My VMA community will not allow me to mess up a VA loan, let alone do a disservice to any veteran. Meaning, because I wear the brand, because I certified myself, because I use that designation, they will not allow me to screw up any VA loans or hurt any veterans because I'm representing them. So accountability is guaranteed because I'm a certified veteran mortgage advisor. Okay. Again, I also offer an opportunity for all my clients to get $500 towards closing costs. I talk about a quiz, right? And I'll show you how to get to that quiz later on. And the last reason why I think you should work with a certified veteran mortgage advisor like myself is I care. Hopefully that makes sense. Hopefully that lands with you. Like, why am I teaching these classes to random strangers who may never talk to me? Because I actually care. I care about education. I care about everyone learning. I care about helping people out, whether or not they're working with me or not. I care about educating the mortgage industry and the real estate industry and making them better, do better for veterans, regardless of what happens. Okay. So, any questions? I'll wait a little bit to see if you ask any questions. All right. So the one question that I do want to address to Grace, because I double checked just now, the reason why you might want to refinance into a VA loan is you might have mortgage insurance like on your FHA and the VA doesn't have mortgage insurance, right? That's an obvious reason. I didn't think about that right away, but now that I think about it, it makes a lot of sense. Why you would want to go from FHA to VA? You immediately remove mortgage insurance, which can save you money. Plus, VA loans does have better interest rates in general. So let's say you have a FHA at like a 5%, and then a year later, that would be in FHA 4%. Well, the VA might be 3.75%, right? So it makes sense to think about the VA option when you decide to refinance. So I appreciate you asking that question. And again, I think that's a really great question for me to maybe answer in future classes. So thank you for that. Okay. So here's my information. If you have any questions, you can always ask me later. Larry Lee, 832-606-2193, Larry Lee at openmortgage.com. You can book me in terms of having an appointment to talk to me via Zoom or phone call, homeloandate.com. You can check out my reviews at linktree/Larry Lee. You can Google Larry Lee the Mortgage Guy if you forget everything I say. And if you're really cool, meaning you're casual and you're not like a big stick in the mud and you're not so polished, you can always go to LarryLee.com and see my more casual link tree, right? And I talked about how you're going to save money on the loan. Remember that? Okay. Well, the way you do that is you actually can go to this link, bit.ly.meta500. Now, of course, it might not be it might not be HTTPS. It might be just bit.ly, bit.ly, right? /meta500. Or you can just ask me, I'll give you the link. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh, actually, Grace asked another question. Are you going in California? Do you have an email? Actually, I am licensed in California. In fact, a large portion of my business is from California. People moving from California to Texas, or people who are in California investing in Texas. And for some reason, I work California hours. Like I wake up late, not nowadays because of my kids, but I stay up late. So a lot of my work at like midnight is because I'm talking to California clients. So I do a lot of work in California. And my email address is Larry Lee. Actually, back here. Let's see here. It's Larry Lee at openmortgage.com. That's my email address. Larry Lee at openmortgage.com. And I'm actually going to type in the chat for you, Grace, just in case. Larry Lee. But yeah, I really appreciate you asking that question. Tina, thank you very much. She says great information. I appreciate it. Obviously, anytime I can help people who have served our country, right? It's always a bonus for me. Not saying that you have to be a veteran for me to work with you, obviously, but I don't know. I mean, I'm not. Let's put it this way. I think the veteran community is underserved. I think the veteran community is ignored, right? Like I said, the statistics, we saw this, right? Literally 46% of loan officers do not mention the VA loan when talking to a veteran about buying a house. That is ridiculously stupid. And it actually pisses me off, right? It makes me think we suck as an industry. Like, how are you going to talk to a veteran about buying a house as a lender, licensed, right? You have a license and everything. You learned about the VA loan. How are you going to talk to a lender? I'm sorry, talk to a veteran and not bring up the VA loan? That's ridiculous, right? It makes no sense. It doesn't compute in my mind. Like, what is wrong with you guys, right? And I think it's because of the fear of doing a VA loan, the fear that it's an inferior product or whatever when it's not, the fear of like messing it up, which of course is easy to mess it up if you don't know what the hell you're doing, but you can mess up any loans. I mean, you can mess up USDA loans, right? You can mess up FHA loans or convention. I mean, there's every loan you can mess up if you don't know anything about it. So why not get certified and learn or follow my content? You'll get more than you probably get anywhere else, right? But yeah, I really believe that the veterans are underserved, and that's why I want to help them. Not saying that they're special or better than any other borrower. That's not what I'm saying. I just think in general they're underserved. They're not treated with the amount of respect and love that they should be because, again, there's a loan product built just for them and no one uses it. No one talks about it, right? 24% or whatever of veterans are using it when 76% qualify. Well, how come they're not buying right now, right? It's totally underserved, right? So it's one of the things where I think people need to be aware of it, right? And there's so much opportunity. Just so you know, I mean, it's not just me being a good guy and me, trying to be an angel. Even though sometimes I listen to this angel more. Sometimes I think I'm too honest for this business. Okay, and when I say that, what I mean by that is I need to just keep my mouth shut and just let things happen, and therefore I can make more money. But at the same time, I'm like, I have to say something sometimes because I just feel wrong if I let things slide, right? It's like ignoring things. It's almost like you're a criminal because you witnessed it, but you didn't do anything about it, right? So maybe I'm too honest with this business. Who knows? But at the same time, I sleep well at night. Okay. Okay, so Tina says, I'm a realtor, a veteran, a surviving spouse, and a mother of 3 soldiers. I really appreciate everything, and I definitely have more questions when I have some time. I would love to talk to you. Thank you very much, Tina. I really appreciate it. And yeah, I mean, like someone like Tina, who has, it looks like, it sounds like she's been around the block when it comes to the to veterans and military. Uh, you can probably ask her, and you'll know that there's a lot of people who don't know what they're doing when it comes to helping people like herself, right? And her family, and that's a problem, and that's why I do what I do, because number one, I want to show off. Obviously, I'm a mortgage nerd. I'm going to flex the fact that I might know more than the other lender when it comes to VA loans. Number one, but number two, I'm hoping to kind of encourage and motivate and set a bar. It's like, hey guys, lenders, loan officers, get your shit together. Okay, guys, don't turn people down incorrectly. Read the guidelines. Try. Like this one guy, like I told you, the guy who said no to that veteran. Both of them are veterans, husband and wife. Both of them. The guy who said no, no, you cannot buy this house with a VA loan because you're about a VA loan. That would be fraud. He was wrong. He was wrong. And good thing because I got the loan, but sad because if I didn't make that video and that agent didn't see me, that person would be suffering in the house that they didn't want to live in. So there was a little bit of luck there. There's a little bit of like things kind of fall into place. But luckily, I care enough to teach these classes and therefore do Zooms or whatever. And someone saw it and decided to reach out to me. Otherwise, that person would still be in the crappy house, being sad and thinking that her VA loan sucks. When in reality, it's awesome. Okay. So yeah, I mean that's why I do what I do. And thank you for your comment, Tina. I oh actually there might be another question. Oh, Grace says thank you. Great info. No, great info. No problem, Grace. I really appreciate you being a part of this call. Please reach out to me anytime. I do these calls every single week. I plan to keep it at 11 o'clock on Wednesdays because it's just the best time for me for these classes. So again, appreciate you guys being here, and hopefully we'll see you guys next week. Right. So again, if you have any questions, give me a call, text me, email me, whatever. Like this, Larry, the mortgage guy, your mortgage insider and certified veteran mortgage advisor. And for today, you can't see because I got to cut it off. Let me see. For today, I'm also a veteran mortgage advisor. Shout outs to Jennifer Miller, right? For sure. See. Shout outs to Jennifer Miller. All right, guys. I really appreciate it. Thanks. I'm out.